morning.
Good
On this
morning.
dramatic day of politics.
I know, a very quiet day today. I think we're all going to have a nice, relaxing day at work. Not. Morning, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm in London for those watching, in case everybody's wondering why I look like I'm sitting in a bathroom, as Sophie and Hamish pointed out to me before we came on the live stream. I'm in my hotel room just before checkout. Just so everyone doesn't think I'm sitting in the
Make
What
your
a
own
week
jokes
to
about
have
Westminster toilets.
I know. Yeah, I know. This is just sheer coincidence that we're down here. This has been planned for months. So, I know I work out of Parliament on a Thursday, so I'm a member of the SPGA, Scottish Parliamentary Journalists Association. So we do like trips twice a year, sort of, where we come down and interview ministers, just whoever we can get. That last time we had Keir Starmer and stuff, but we've spoken to a lot of people. But essentially, we're just head down here to speak to other people, and this is all kicked off. So, a lot of the things that we've been speaking to people about, we're worried that are going to be out of date by the end of the day because they might not be in their job. We're kind of like sitting there, like we've got stories to go over the weekend, and we're like, they're going to quit. We'll make sure they're not going to go. So, yeah, it's been very stressful. As you were saying, it's so hard to keep up with. Every time I put my phone down, somebody else quit yesterday. So, very interesting.
I know my refresh button has been getting a lot of action on Twitter.
I know. I've been attached to my phone all the time. But yeah, it's been really good. I mean, what are we at now? 57 resignations, which is just crazy. Because Tuesday was 13 when I got up Wednesday morning. It was 13 because I'd kept a list. I've had to stop keeping the list because I didn't have time yesterday while I was doing all my other stuff. I think I got to about 20 and gave up. Because there's been so many of them. And it's a new education secretary. She didn't even last 24 hours and she was out the door. So
I think she did actually last 33, Abby.
Oh, she lasted 30.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it was 33.
That's one full day.
Is that the shortest ministerial appointment ever? Surely. I can't remember. I mean, I'm only in my 30s. I can't remember anybody going that quickly. But yeah, it's very interesting. And obviously, today we're hearing Boris Johnson's going to resign. Finally. We all thought it was going to happen. I was adamant it was going to happen yesterday. I don't know why, because we should be aware now that he just clings on at all costs. But it felt like yesterday was the day where he should have gone,
I thought he was going to call a general election.
Yeah.
I really thought that he would push the boundaries out as far as that. And I was really, really interested to see how that would play out, given that he didn't really have a political party behind him.
But it's just they can't run the government now. That's like the main point about it. I don't understand how he thinks that he's going to stay as caretaker prime minister until October, because none of the ministers are going to work under him. If you look at the maths of it yesterday, when the last 1922 committee vote happened and he had like 148 against him, they were all backbenchers. None of them were the ones on the payroll, and all the ones that voted for him were the ones that are in paid jobs. And now we've got 57 of the one in paid job. I'm checking Sky News to make sure it hasn't changed in the 5 minutes we've been on here. 57 who've gone. So that he doesn't have the maths. None of those backbenchers are going to fill those 57 jobs. He actually cannot govern.
There's no ministers in the Department for Levelling Up or the Department of Education. So those departments effectively just don't exist for the moment.
School term isn't even over yet. So
what do you think all the civil servants are doing?
Panicking,
Nothing.
I imagine, and running around freaking out, because what else would you be doing in this situation? They're going to have to be and also Dominic Raab's going to have to come in as caretaker PM, which is going to be an absolute mad summer, by the way, because there's no way that Boris can run, can keep in there for the next 3 months.
I think Tory MPs are already saying there's absolutely no way he can stay. So that's today's, what's going to happen today. Will he cling on?
Yeah.
Also, what's the point of offering your resignation if you're not going to be resigning?
I know.
For another 4 months or something.
It's not going to happen.
Why would you? Is it just to further paralyse the government? And
I honestly think that Boris Johnson is just deluded and refuses to give up power. That is honestly what I believe it is. I think that's why he sacked Michael Gove yesterday, out of petty revenge. Let's be fair, he acts like he's a Shakespearean character. And that's how he treats life. It's like Game of Thrones level, stuff going on in Downing Street at the moment, with Nadeem Zahawi taking the Chancellor job, then saying that he's got to go less than 12 hours later, then turning back again and saying they're going to launch some big economic thing, and then that's been pulled back again. There's no straight line coming out of Downing Street. It's absolute chaos down here.
Well, I think at the moment he's days short of surpassing Theresa May's.
Do you really think he's hanging in just because he doesn't want to be like less time than Theresa May? Actually, you're right.
Well, I think that I wouldn't be surprised. He doesn't want to be shorter than Theresa May, and he doesn't want his reign to last. So I don't know.
I also saw someone on Sky News earlier saying that Tory MPs were talking about installing Theresa May as a caretaker Prime Minister, which it's amazing that Boris has caused so much chaos that people are now looking at May as like some unifying figure.
Well, that's the thing though. Like May went because the party didn't like her Brexit plan, right? So that was like the main issue. And Boris got in, like his whole thing was about Brexit. And then, but his term has been more like 20. I can't even put a number on it. So many more times more chaotic than Theresa May. Like,
yeah, it's like, do you remember when they were trying to get Brexit through Parliament, and every single day the front pages were just like May's Brexit deal, like Commons reject, like May's Brexit deal every single day, and she's just like banging her head against a brick wall day in, day out, and now she is somehow become a unifying figure in the Conservative Party. That is an insane distance to have travelled in the space of 3 years.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. It's crazy. But there's one man who hasn't gone. Let's go on to our Scotland secretary, shall we? I had a little chat with him. Alistair Jack. What did you say there, sorry?
Yeah. That was a very smooth transition.
I know, sorry, I just thought I'd bring it up just quickly and we can get back to Boris. But I had a little sit down with Alistair Jack yesterday. We had like a little round table with him in Dover House, which is where the Scotland office is. It was embargoed till midnight, but it's up now, so I can talk all about it, thank God. But yeah, so he basically yesterday was quite interesting, was saying, so Steph had asked him, do you think Boris Johnson is honest? Steph Braun, sorry, our colleague, who's also down in London with me. I'd asked him, do you think he's honest? And Alistair Jack was on this really bizarre, like, tact of saying, he's always been honest with me. He's never tried to pull the wool over my eyes. So that's how I see him and that's how I deal with him. And it must have took about 4 journalists, right? Because Steph was like halfway down the table and it goes like a question each. And everybody kept asking him though, do you not see that the impact on the public, and the public don't trust him? Should you not like take that into consideration? And he just would not take it on. It was extremely bizarre. And then he said that I asked him, because I was last in the circle. He was trying to get in a ministerial car and they were trying to not let me ask a question, but I did it anyway. So I was like, well, you said that loyalty is very important to you. So if Boris Johnson goes, are you going to go too? And he said, no. So it's like, it's just so strange. And then after that, David Dogood, who's the parliamentary undersecretary in the Scotland office, quit. The PPS in the Scotland office quit. The Northern Ireland secretary quit. The Welsh secretary quit. And Alistair Jack is the only man standing. At the end of the day, it's going to be him, Nadine Dorries, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Boris, I think. It's like, I honestly don't understand how he's still not quit yet. At all. It's just...
You can kind of understand Ben Wallace and Suella Braverman not quitting, because they've got roles that...
And Liz Truss,
support national security, like, they're actually be anarchy if they quit. But I mean, let's be honest here, the Scotland office didn't do a huge amount. I mean, what's Alistair Jack getting out of the past couple of days?
I know. I think, to be honest though, if Boris Johnson goes, Alistair Jack isn't going to be Scotland secretary. I don't know who would, because there's not a lot of choice, but I think, it's not going to be good for him if Boris goes, so he really doesn't have an option. I think that's why I asked him that, because I was like, you obviously are tying yourself to Boris Johnson. So if he goes, are you that loyal that you're going to follow him? And he said no. So no, he was adamant when we were talking to him the whole time he was not going to resign. But then a lot of people have said that over the past 24 hours and then resigned. So it's really hard to tell, particularly when it comes to Tories. So
it would seem a bit pointless resigning now though, after Boris has announced that he's going to resign.
Yeah,
if you do it after the boss has said they're going to quit, then
he said he wasn't going to anyway, so I guess it'll just be...
he might as well stick to his guns at this point.
We're at 59 MPs. I swear to God, another 2 have gone in the 10 minutes that we've been on here.
Another 2?
Yeah.
Okay, we're up to 59 now.
TV.
And Liz Truss is on her way back
to
announce her leadership bid, apparently.
I knew it. Yeah. I would have called that for a long time. I actually was like convinced she was going to be Chancellor the other day, because I thought that they would try and like bring in a woman and kind of try and distract, being like, we've got the first female Chancellor, you know, sort of type thing. But then obviously I think it was between her and Nadine. So yeah, very interesting. I was adamant. I was telling everybody. It's like, it's going to be Truss. It's going to be. You don't always get everything right though in this job. It's hard to tell. Yeah. So what else has been going on up the road? Because I've been out of the loop slightly, although in the loop at the same time. It's quite bizarre. You guys
I don't think there's actually been, huge amounts of news, given that this has just dominated the news agenda for the past 2 days. We've got, I think it's, actually Boris Johnson, in what might be one of his final acts as Prime Minister, rejected a Section 30 order yesterday, which just kind of got lost for me. It happened yesterday afternoon when I wasn't working, but it got lost in amongst quite a lot of news. Boris Johnson's rejected a Section 30 order in what could be one of his last acts as Prime Minister. I don't know how he found the time to do that yesterday, but maybe
it's hilarious timing. He came out on committee and must have sent it in the car, his letter, going back to Downing Street to where the huddle of his cabinet ministers were waiting to tell him to resign.
There were hundreds of people outside Downing Street yesterday. I did a quick live from outside of it just after he'd gone in, because everybody was waiting for him to come in. I was speaking to a couple who were on holiday, and they were like, we've got dinner booked at 7, but we're going to cancel it because we want to see what happens. Like, they'd been just like mobbed. Like, there were people everywhere, like, right, the police were having to keep them off the streets. And then he went in the back door. Like, Steph had climbed a wall to try and get a video, and I was across the road. We were heading out for dinner, and we were like, bloody hell, we're just going to have to save it and see what happens. And then I was across the road trying to, like, you know, see if we could actually see in Downing Street from there. And then he went in the back door. Obviously was told that there are a lot of people waiting outside and didn't want to face it, you know. So it's very interesting. But yeah, the Section 30 order thing is crazy that he's done that as the last thing, to just put that little bit in. But you can tell that he's using the threat of an SNP Labour like deal if he goes. It's like, that's what he was trying to argue, was if I go, then Labour is going to get in with the SNP and they're going to give them independence and the union's going to crumble. That was his argument.
Yeah,
but then Labour no deals with the SNP. It's like crazy.
A last bit of muscular unionism to try and maybe bolster his position.
Yeah, I think it fell flat on its arse, to be honest. Well, I'd just say that on my.
Well, I think it probably would have been met with kind of blank stares from a lot of the cabinet, who probably don't know or care what a Section 30 order is, other probably than Alistair Jack. Maybe that's what's kept him on side. Maybe it's like, oh, great.
Well, he said he was telling us that he'd spoken to Boris on the phone on Tuesday night, and he said he was feeling robust. So that changed quickly.
Who was feeling robust? Jack was feeling robust.
No, the Prime Minister was feeling robust on the phone to Jack.
He probably still is. He probably still feels robust.
He wouldn't tell us what they talked about, but apparently Rishi Sunak didn't come up. And I was like, I think it was one of the other journalists was saying, so the fact that you lost his Chancellor didn't come up in your phone call, you know, like that, is that not like massive and you should be kind of discussing it? And he's like, no. What were you talking about? But he wouldn't tell us what they were talking about.
To mention it, totally slipped my mind.
Totally slipped my mind that he'd lost 2 cabinet members.
Heard that before.
And the chaos reigns in Downing Street. It was bizarre. It was a very strange meeting with Alistair Jack yesterday, I'm not going to lie. But obviously that story from Steph's up on our website if anybody wants to read it and see what he was saying about Boris Johnson.
Lots of people want to read it, actually. It's doing quite well on our site.
Fantastic. I just want to say, I brought my own iron brew to London. Sophie wanted me to point this out because I'm a stereotype. That's why I'm drinking it. Need the sugar.
Who is it? Who would we be putting bets on for leadership?
I would say Truss.
Truss? You're saying Truss?
I would say Truss, or perhaps. I mean, I don't know if Rishi Sunak can pull it back now. You know.
I think Rishi Sunak. I really think that Rishi Sunak is going to give the game up. He's got good odds in the bookies currently, but I think he's going to give the game up at the next election. I think the politics. His wife being brought into it seemed to really, really upset him. I mean, it was totally legitimate, obviously, for that to happen, but it seemed to really, really upset him, and it kind of knackered him, I think, a little bit. I think when he was riding high on Eat Out to help out and furlough and all that, he was like, "Oh yeah, this politics gig's a great laugh." I think he's going to Nick Clegg and hightail off to California at the next election.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Sajid Javid as well. I think out of those two, because they went first, they're probably going to have a good chance because they were like first out. You can tell that they. I mean, not for us, like we're not Tories, but thinking in a Tory mindset.
But but Sajid Javid yesterday was giving a speech like as if he was giving a presentation in primary school. And the man he was supposed to be giving this heartfelt speech about honesty and integrity, and had to honesty and integrity, and I will never risk my I mean, it was embarrassing. It was just grand. I can't believe he was actually, for the speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, who is a man, was really for Commons rules and all this sort of stuff, for better or worse. For him to allow what was basically kind of moral posturing like that was, I found that really galling. I really took objection to it, actually. Quite offended by it. Not least of all because of his public speaking skills, which were...
Well, it would be interesting, though, because obviously we've heard that Nadine Sawi, the new Chancellor, who's been in there for a day, I think it was the Times had a story about how he'd been plotting a leadership bid for a while with like a secret cabal or something like that. Yeah. Very sick of it. And
he's also been investigated by the National Crimes Agency for his finances.
Yeah, I know. For his finances, it's crazy. But wouldn't it be interesting though if we got our first Prime Minister of colour, because there are a couple running. We've had women before too.
Although his history as a refugee might rather undermine the whole Rwanda scheme, I think.
They don't really care. I mean, Priti Patel's in charge of that. She comes from an immigrant family. I don't think they care, to be fair.
That's true.
But him losing Priti Patel, Boris Johnson losing Priti Patel yesterday was a big one, I thought, because he basically ripped up the ministerial code for her, and then she's turned around and went, "No, you got to go." I thought that was the big one, like when she turned, because
Yeah, it almost made you feel a little bit sympathetic for him, considering that he has actually, that's one of the scandals that has kind of gradually eroded his credibility as Prime Minister, was the whole Priti Patel bullying thing.
Yeah.
And he tore up the ministerial code for her, and then she's betrayed him. I mean, I'm not sympathetic to him, but it is almost you are almost looking at it and saying like, right, okay, really? So that's how that's where this is going. I wonder why they've all suddenly developed a conscience now.
No, come on.
You think? No. I don't know. I just can't see why they've all suddenly developed a conscience about this. Because
they've not, because they know for a fact that they need to get somebody else in, or they're going to lose the next election.
I think it's straight by numbers.
It is self-preservation at its absolute finest. If it was about integrity and honesty, this would have happened during Partygate.
Yeah.
And it didn't. So, it's not about that. It's about them saving their own skin now and realising that they're absolutely... The public are raging, like they've lost the backbenchers. They've started to lose, like it's all the kind of lower government roles. The ones that are kind of left are the ones higher up. So they're the ones that are getting the good money, They're the ones that are more likely to get into the big jobs when it comes round, if somebody sympathetic comes in. But let's be honest here, it's about nothing else than them, like, trying to keep on to power now, because if Boris had called the general election, they would have lost it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I don't know what it might have been a hung parliament, because I don't know if Keir Starmer's in the position to win anything yet. Particularly, they're not going to get any seats in Scotland, I think. Was there not a thing that said that they would lose, the Tories would lose their seats as well?
They would be wiped out, I think, in Scotland. Alistair Jack, Andrew Bowie, Douglas Ross. Douglas Ross would be down to 2 jobs if there was an election.
Hand on
I don't know how he would scrape by. But
Douglas Ross has been down here, though. I have seen him. I've not had a sit down or chat with him, but I've seen him around. Yeah. It's not. He's been all right. It seems like he's in all right mood. He's probably just like, oh well, done it.
He's just glad that he didn't change his position again.
To be fair, he's changed it enough now.
He could have been in the cabinet.
No, he
Chancellor if he changed his position again.
No way. No.
They would have put anyone in.
He's going to be leader of the Scottish Tories. He's got to be the new Scotland office.
It's the Scotland Secretary, Chancellor, leader of the Scottish Tories, MP for Murray, MSP for the Highlands, part-time.
Referee.
Referee. I doesn't do that anymore. He sort of does, but
did he give that up? Sorry.
The thing is, like,
5 jobs in.
If Alistair Jack does lose his job as Scotland Secretary, who is there? Well, we've got Andrew Bowie, Douglas Ross, John Lamont, David Duguid's resigned, and David Mundell's already done it, and he quit as trade envoy.
Yeah, he was trade envoy to what?
No, New Zealand, I think.
Oh, New Zealand.
One of the Kenya envoy did resign as well. But yeah, so I mean, who would do that? We're gonna have Andrew Bowie as the next Scotland Secretary.
Could be.
What would that be like? That'd be weird. It'd be very strange. So, it's all up in the air at the moment, I think. But it's going to be a very exciting day. What time is the statement at? Do we know? Has there been a confirmation of what time he's going to...
Before lunch.
Before lunch?
I think so.
Depends on when you lunch, isn't it?
Absolutely typical that I've got something to do at 12 o'clock. I bet it's going to be at 12 o'clock when I've got something else to do. Standard. But
I reckon you'll hold off as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise, but it's going to be a very exciting day. I mean, it's going to be busy for all of us. We're certainly going to have, on top of it, have you got a live blog going today?
We do have a live blog going today.
Yeah, so I love how I'm having to ask, sorry. I'm in London. I'm allowed to be a little bit oblivious to what's going on. Don't judge me. So obviously we've got a live blog, and the one that we had yesterday was really good. I was using that to keep up with what was going on when I was walking about London. It's very handy. So if anybody wants to keep up on the later.
It's our colleague Angus's last day, and he's running a live blog. And his first day was the day after the Brexit referendum, and this is his last day. So
what a career!
It's also Alistair Jack's birthday today.
Huh?
It's Alistair Jack's birthday today.
Is it? Oh,
yeah, happy birthday, Alistair Jack.
I'll go chat Dover House and see if he'll let me in again. Don't think he will.
Last day as Scotland Secretary, maybe. Let's
see. Oh, poor Angus, but at least, Angus will be all over it. At least he'll give it his all because it's his last time. But yeah, that's good.
Right, we should probably go.
I know, we've been just sitting talking for ages. It's because I've not seen you for a few days. I'm like, hi, guys. What's happening? I'll have some more stuff from London. I'm going to go, once I've checked out of a hotel, I'm going to go and see what's going on roundabout, because my train isn't until later on tonight, so I've got a bit more time in London. Hopefully be around when he quits, but I don't have security clearance enough to get into Downing Street to watch the statement, unfortunately. Don't know if they'd let me in anyway. Might try, but we'll see.
You not got common security clearance? Could you not go to one of the pubs there and see you can get one of those cheap pints that they've got subsidised by us? But
no, I've not. You have to get invited to go in the Commons, I think.
I do.
Yeah, I've not asked anybody to bring me in. I didn't even think about it. I'm like, I've got other stuff.
Alistair Jack take you in for his birthday party?
I don't think so. Although, to be fair, Alistair Jack, me and Alistair Jack always he calls us the fanzine, and I'm always like, don't call me that. Do not call me that. So yeah, it's a bit cheeky sometimes, but it's very interesting what he's been saying. So yeah, that's up on the website as well. And yeah, I'll stop talking. Sorry, I could sit here all day and talk about this, honestly, if I was allowed to, but I better go and do some work.
Yeah, let's go. Thanks for joining us. Come to the Nationals website. We have all of the latest. And yeah, have a good day. It's very exciting. Who knows where we'll be this time tomorrow?
I know. Who knows if I'll have any stories that last. If all the people I've spoken to in the past 2 days resign, that's what I'm more concerned about. But we'll see.
It's like following a Bitcoin market or something, isn't it? You're still put a cabinet minister now.
It's mad. I can't even tell you who I've spoken to because it's embargoed. So
we'll come to the Nationals website to find out.
Yeah, in the next couple of days. I'll keep updated on my Twitter as well. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'll catch you all later.
Thanks, guys.